somewhere else. But in the meantime, we thought it would be important to bring in one of the most respected minds as it regards clean energy solutions that lead to effective federal policy. Here in studio with John and I is Rich Powell, the CEO of ClearPath, a nonprofit focused on conservative clean energy and providing comprehensive solutions. Rich, welcome back.
Thanks so much for having us. It's great to see you both.
It's good to see you. And since we were just talking in the break about Diablo Canyon in California, these nuclear sites across America, I can't help but think, Democrats have had their messaging with regards to nuclear energy, and Republicans in the not so distant past, I think, had the same hesitancies about nuclear. But on the Republican side of the aisle, at least, Republicans are moving in that direction very quickly, becoming comfortable to it, or comfortable of it. What's your take on that?
Well, I think we're seeing a huge national resurgence in support for nuclear energy. Just quick facts. Today, it's our most important source of clean energy by far. It's 50% of the clean energy in this country, and it has huge potential to do so much more for the rest of our economy. The most important thing is not to lose the nuclear that we have today, and that's the surprising step that California took to preserve their last remaining nuclear reactor. Very good step in the right direction. Long overdue decision, but very important. And there's so much opportunity to do more with nuclear, with advanced technologies, and even more of what we have today. There's so much opportunity, both here in the United States and around the world.
Yeah, such a great point. Rich, you have a way of just cutting through the clutter and getting to why things are working or not working in America. There's a lot of great clean energy initiatives that are on the tarmac, and they can't get the lift off because the United States government keeps getting in the way. I know that's a recurring theme. Tell us what's going on with the permitting crisis.
Yeah. So at this point, it is a crisis. So we've now put enormous resources, both innovative new technologies and even existing technologies, just into getting these things out in the power grid. And now really government at all levels, I think, is the primary obstacle to deploying more clean energy. It all comes down to a permit. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do, whether you're trying to make a new gas-fired power plant or a new nuke or a new transmission line for wind and solar. It all starts with a permit in every case. And sometimes those permits can take 4 years to get in the first place due to delays from the federal government. Sometimes they can take 10 years of delay through lawsuits, all of this kind of NIMBY activity coming in to slow down projects. And if we're serious about building, huge new clean energy projects in this country, we just have to modernize this process.
Who are some of the culprits specifically? I mean, people, agencies, or I guess the better question is, how do you get them out of the way?
Sure. Well, we're going to need a lot of changes at the federal level and the regional level and the state and local level. One of the major things we need to do is overhaul a very old environmental law called the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA. Lots of different agencies administer NEPA, from the Department of the Interior to the Environmental Protection Agency. We have to reform how we administer NEPA. It can take maybe 4 years to get a permit for a project. We at least have to get to a no faster if that's the resolution, and we also really need the courts to be handling the suits around these things a whole lot faster than they are.
Yeah, so many people talk about NEPA as a big roadblock, and they've been talking about it for a long time. I get the sense from talking to Kevin McCarthy and his folks that this is the year that a lot of big environmental policies get put forward that put the Republicans in a much stronger position on climate change. The next generation of voters really care about this. I'm a clean energy nerd. It's one of my favorite subjects. But there has to be a way, and Republicans actually have a carbon reduction plan that does everything that Barack Obama and Joe Biden want to do, but they do it in a more pragmatic way. They get to the targets. Tell us how Republicans message that and get the public to realize, hey, Republicans got a plan and it's a lot more achievable.
Sure. Well, I think the great thing about the plan that Leader McCarthy put forward, now Speaker McCarthy, I'm still getting used to our new reality, right?
Exactly
Speaker
right.
McCarthy put forward great leaders like Representative Garrett Graves from Louisiana, and John Curtis from Utah, and a whole task force of members. Kathy McMorris Rogers, the new chair of the Energy and Commerce Committee, all came together and established this plan, with permitting as one of the centerpieces, along with things like American energy innovation and unleashing American resource independence. This plan is really comprehensive, and very importantly, to your point, it balances energy security and reliability and affordability with reducing emissions. And why is that important? It's so that we don't make the same mistakes that Europe has made, right? Which, with Germany moving to the wrong sources, with the wrong mix of clean energy too quickly, abandoning their nuclear program, getting totally reliant on Russian gas, and basically inviting this aggression into Ukraine and Russia. We can't make those same mistakes. For example, becoming overly dependent on Chinese imports of some clean energy technology. We've got to find ways to bring industry back to the U.S. to make our clean energy here in America. And if we do all of that, we can have the security and the affordability, and we can also get back on an emissions reduction pathway.
That's an important strategy.
Rich, it seems like so often, at least on the Democrat aisle with respect to climate issues, that they put the cart before the horse. And in so many states, blue states across America have said, no energy or no emission vehicles by X year, and all of these crazy things that they try to implement before they've actually solved the crisis. In California, we have the wind and solar farms. And not only are they ugly, but of course with respect to the wind farms, they kill birds. Is there a way to make those as viable as nuclear? Or maybe they already are, they're just not working in California.
We have to find right mix for all these things. There's a role for everything on the grid, and in some places wind and in some places solar make a lot of sense in different mixes. There are parts of the Mountain West where they could be a lot of the grid, right? Colorado's great for those things. In other places, the Southeast, it's not that sunny and it's not terribly windy, right? We're going to need lots of other sources of energy like cleaner fossil fuels that use carbon capture technology as well, or like advanced nuclear energy as well. It's really about finding the right mix for the right part of the country and never trying to say, well, we can go it alone with any one source of energy. The minute you do that, again, you're in the situation Germany has found itself in. They tried to do everything with wind and solar in Germany. Germany, unsurprisingly, is not a great place for solar energy, right? It's not very sunny in Germany. It's pretty high up there. And you can do so much with wind, but at some point, the public seems to become opposed to, especially onshore wind turbines. Just people don't like the look of them everywhere. Right. And so, they should have kept their nuclear plants online. I think they're really regretting that now. They should have found a role for clean fossil fuels in the mix. I think they're really regretting that now, and so we need to make sure not to make those mistakes.
Well, yeah, I think that's thematic. I mean, you make sure the technology is there before you shove legislation down the throats of the American people. Don't put the cart before the horse. Seems pretty simple, but it's government.
You'd think.
That's why we have this guy.
That's right. Rich, we are so grateful to have you here with us, and we look forward to having you back on to discuss this and much more after this.
Thanks so much.